Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm really glad you're here today. We're about to explore a very important topic: what betrayal trauma does to your brain, the hidden psychological and neurological impact. In this presentation, we'll look at how betrayal goes beyond just emotional pain. It actually changes the way our brains work and how we see the world around us. We'll uncover the hidden effects and discuss what happens inside when trust is broken. So, let's get started and dive into this eye-opening subject together. When most people hear the word betrayal, their minds often jump straight to infidelity. Situations like a spouse having an affair, secretly visiting sex workers, or engaging in an intimate relationship with a close friend or neighbor. These are some of the most obvious and devastating forms of betrayal we can imagine. Psychologists even have a specific term for it: partner betrayal trauma. It's important to recognize that while these types of betrayal are very visible and emotionally intense, betrayal can take many other forms as well. But for now, understanding this typical scenario helps us grasp the profound impact betrayal can have on trust and relationships. This sets the foundation for exploring how betrayal affects us and why it's such a powerful emotional wound. When we talk about betrayal trauma, it's important to recognize that it's not just about physical infidelity. It also includes other forms of emotional betrayal that can be just as damaging. For example, discovering that your partner has been unfaithful, whether physically or emotionally, can shake your sense of trust and security. Then there's pornography betrayal, which often involves realizing that a partner is secretly consuming pornography. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy and rejection, because it touches on deeper issues of intimacy and connection. Another form is intimacy anorexia, where a partner withholds emotional closeness. This leaves the other person feeling profoundly alone and emotionally starved, even if they're in a relationship. What's really important here is that all these scenarios are betrayal because they violate core expectations of trust, honesty, and intimacy in a relationship. And research shows that, despite their different appearances, these types of betrayal trauma have similar effects on the brain, both psychologically and neurologically. So, understanding these forms helps us see that betrayal isn't just about cheating. It's about any violation that damages the foundation of trust in a relationship. When betrayal strikes, it can feel as though your entire life has been turned upside down. Your past, which once felt solid and familiar, suddenly seems tainted. Every holiday, every birthday, and every memory now feels like it's been rewritten by a new, painful story that you didn't expect to be part of. And then there's your present. It often feels unstable, like walking on shaky ground. You start questioning who your partner really is, and even start questioning yourself. You wonder if you have the strength or courage to stay, or if leaving is the only option. Looking ahead to the future, it can seem completely destroyed. Financial worries creep in, fears for your children grow stronger, and doubts about whether healing is even possible start to flood your mind. It's a lot to process, and these feelings are very common after experiencing betrayal. Understanding this helps us see why the psychological impact can be so profound, and it underscores the importance of addressing these emotional wounds with care and support. The emotional toll of betrayal trauma can be truly crushing. It's often described as feeling like you've been hit by a truck, but without any visible wounds. On the outside, you might look fine, but inside, your spirit, your sense of identity, and your trust can feel shattered beyond recognition. This kind of trauma doesn't just affect your mind, it can cause real physical changes as well. You might experience weight loss or gain, and a persistent sense of despair that's hard to shake. It's as if your emotional world has gone into shutdown, leading to a deep withdrawal from emotions and even spiritual disconnection. Many people also experience PTSD-like symptoms, intrusive thoughts, nightmares, and vivid flashbacks of the betrayal that seem to come out of nowhere. Social withdrawal is common too, as the pain makes it difficult to engage or trust others, leading to isolation and avoidance of social situations. And then there are the emotional outbursts: anger that feels uncontrollable, tears or crying spells, rage or deep despair that just seem to take over. All of these reactions are normal responses to an incredibly painful experience. Recognizing these signs helps us understand the profound impact betrayal trauma can have and underscores why healing is such a complex but vital process. Let's take a closer look at what betrayal trauma does to your brain. Trauma isn't just an emotional experience. It also causes real, measurable changes in how your brain functions. When betrayal occurs, your brain reacts in ways that can be quite intense and overwhelming. First, we see the activation of the fear center, specifically the amygdala. This part of the brain stays constantly activated, keeping you in a heightened state of alert. It's like your brain is constantly on guard, ready to respond to threats. Next, this leads to hijacked emotional regulation. Logic and reasoning become overwhelmed by fear, making it harder to think clearly or rationalize what's happening. Instead, emotion takes over more easily. Then we have the fight, flight, or freeze response. These survival instincts dominate your reactions, often without your conscious control. It's the brain's way of trying to protect you from perceived danger. Another impact is cognitive overload. Your thoughts race, and you can get stuck in mental loops, replaying the betrayal again and again. This can make it difficult to focus or find mental clarity. Finally, betrayal trauma can cause identity disruption. Your sense of self and reality can feel shattered. It's as if your foundation has been shaken, leaving you questioning who you are and what's real. Understanding these neurological changes is essential because it helps us see why healing can feel so challenging. But knowing this also gives us a roadmap for recovery and regaining control. Let's talk about the brain's response to betrayal, specifically how fear and regulation come into play. First, the fear center in the brain, called the amygdala, stays activated. It fires constantly, which leads to a state of hypervigilance. You might notice yourself constantly monitoring your partner's phone, computer, or movements, desperately scanning for any signs of safety or danger. This is why anxiety and restlessness often become your default state during this time. Now, normally, our brain balances emotion, handled by the amygdala, with logic, which is managed by the prefrontal cortex. But in betrayal trauma, that balance is disrupted. The fear system becomes overwhelming, overpowering our ability to reason or calm down. This makes even simple tasks feel daunting or overwhelming. It's as if your emotional regulation gets hijacked, making it really hard to think clearly, solve problems, or make sound decisions. Understanding this helps us see why the emotional response can feel so intense, and why calming down isn't always straightforward. Now, let's talk about the survival modes and mental turmoil that often accompany betrayal. When we're faced with such overwhelming pain, our minds and bodies naturally react in ways that help us cope, but these reactions can also keep us stuck. First, there's the fight response. This is when we throw all our energy into fixing the relationship, researching solutions, or demanding change. It's like our mind is telling us, I need to do something, anything to fix this. Then there's the flight response, where we withdraw emotionally. We might avoid social situations, shut down emotionally, or distance ourselves from others because it feels safer to retreat than to confront the pain directly. And we also have the freeze response, which is feeling completely stuck, unable to move forward or backward. It's like replaying the betrayal over and over in your mind, feeling paralyzed, unable to take action or escape the pain. Now, all of these responses can lead to what we call cognitive overload. Betrayal trauma causes your thoughts to race, creating looping mental images and an endless stream of painful realizations. Many people describe feeling like their brain never stops, even when they're just sitting still. This constant mental activity can be exhausting, but it's also your mind's way of trying to process and make sense of what's happened. Understanding these survival modes helps us recognize what's happening in our minds and bodies, so we can begin to find healthier ways to cope and move forward. Let's talk about shattered identity and gender disparities. When betrayal happens, it disrupts our sense of self. The brain relies heavily on stable stories about who we are and how we relate to others. When that trust is broken, it can feel like the foundation of our identity has been torn apart. The betrayed person often begins to question, who am I now? Who was I trusting? What is real anymore? This sense of confusion and loss is a core part of betrayal trauma. Now, an important point to highlight is why women tend to experience betrayal trauma more intensely. Neurological research shows that women are affected about 2.6 times more severely than men. Why is that? Well, women's brains are generally more relationally wired. That means trust and attachment are central to how they see themselves and feel safe in the world. When those bonds are broken, say, through betrayal, the neurological impact is deeper and can last longer. So, understanding these differences helps us appreciate the profound impact betrayal can have, especially on women, and underscores the importance of tailored support and healing. Healing the brain after betrayal is a deeply personal journey, and it's important to understand that your partner's efforts alone can't fix what's happened inside your mind. Even if they change their behavior, your brain may still be stuck in trauma mode until you actively work on healing it yourself. There are several effective approaches to this. Trauma-focused therapy, like EMDR or somatic experiencing, can help process the emotional wounds and release trauma stored in your body and mind. Neuromodulation techniques aim to rebalance brain activity, helping your brain recover from the chaos of betrayal. Mind-body practices such as mindfulness, deep breathing, and grounding exercises are powerful tools to reconnect with the present moment and soothe your nervous system. Support groups provide a sense of connection. Knowing you're not alone and sharing your experiences can be incredibly healing. And rebuilding your self-identity through journaling, therapy, and practicing self-compassion helps restore your sense of self and confidence. Remember, betrayal trauma isn't just emotional pain. It affects your entire body and brain. It can shatter your sense of the past, destabilize your present, and cast shadows over your future. But with the right interventions, your brain can heal, your self-awareness can return, and trust in life can be rebuilt. You can't undo what happened, but you can reclaim your healing. It all begins with acknowledging that what you experienced was real and traumatic, and that your brain is doing its best to protect you. Now is the time to give it the care and attention it needs to recover and move forward.